And I'm recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Alex from Breathing Cold, the Big Greener. Refill my bottle, all this crazy stuff. And I'm very honored and excited today to have Greg Jacobson, the author of Think Yourself Happy with us. And he's going to tell us how to be happy, and share, it's very important. We live in 2021. It's the year where everybody's constructing, everybody's worried, and it's important to set the right intention from the start. So I thought that would be interesting to get into that flow. As for me, I've decided that this year I'm having fun, and that's my intention every day. And so far, so good. I'm really having a good time. Welcome, Greg.
Hello, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
No, Greg, it's a really honor. I know that your book is hits, that everyone who's read it, and you've got some, the old fame of the world has read and endorsed your book. So you must have done something right somewhere. And I love that you came from a space of, hey man, we're in a day and age where we need to support each other. It's time to give. It's not time to take. I have nothing to sell. Just get it out there. I wanna spread the love. So here we go. Happy to help you on that journey.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So this has been a big change for me, I got to say. I've been mentoring people one-on-one and doing groups for over 20 years now. Some of the most amazing people in the world, the brightest, the most talented, the most wealthy, the most connected. And my normal rate is $20,000 a day, but I had an epiphany that I'm only helping the people that can afford it. And it's the same road that was taken by most of my mentors, that I needed to pay a lot for this education, and it was well worth it. And what happened was that this COVID really became an opportunity for the people that I looked up to most. I felt to really step up and to share with the world some skills and techniques that are proven that can really change their life immediately. And I noticed that what they did is they became virtual gurus instead of doing live events, and still charge the same thing. And I thought, there's so many people in the world that need this, especially right now when they're so unsure about what the future holds. And they're so challenged financially and at work, and some don't even have jobs anymore. So what could I, rather than just think, oh, they should have done more, I thought, well, how can I do more? And so It came to me that I needed really to go out into the world and share this with the people who not only couldn't afford it, but people that weren't even exposed to this in any way. And if they were exposed to it, obviously, who wouldn't invest in themselves? But I wanted to make it really simple.
Well done, and thank you for that. And I can't wait to dive into, the meaty part of all this and understanding, your key pointers and tips and how to be happy, especially now, as you said. One thing I want to bounce back on what you said is, I think we're done with the era of gurus. And as much as, I know you work with Tony Robbins, who is claiming, I'm not your guru, but the more you say it, the more the opposite comes across. So it is a time where, I love when we connected offline before. You said, well, it's not about me. And that's, for me, is absolutely the key, because that's exactly my approach. It's like, if I'm the hero in the room, then you're not. And if I can disappear and I'm just a mirror of you, then all of a sudden you are the hero, you're taking all the space. And that's where transformation truly happened to me. For whoever is there. It's like, all of a sudden people can be with themselves. And as we know, meditation, Qigong, Tai Chi, breath work, this is the key, is to find the space and the time to be with yourself. And not project of, oh, I wish I was like that, or I look like her, and da. And I really appreciate that humbling approach to coaching and leadership, because I truly believe that's the next level of transformation. And I hear you on that journey. So let's...
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're doing it right. I'm always this approach. I think that's how we do it. Now let's dive right into it. So, how can we get happier?
Well, there's certainly a lot of ways to be happier. I initially wrote a 350-page book, probably even much larger than that. From the exact steps you take, if you're feeling this, then do that. And I brought it to my editor, and she said, I got to say, this book is absolutely brilliant. It's incredible. However, no one's ever going to read it. People don't read big books anymore. And if you really want to be effective, take your 100 ways of being happy and bring it down to, let's say, 5.
Mm.
That way that people can open a small book, really something small, that they could open it to any page and feel that you're talking directly to them, and they'll be able to get something out of it immediately. And that was a real challenge for me. But I went in and I asked for guidance from the universe. And of course, when you ask, you receive. And what came back was a book it's about 80 pages. And it's just exactly what you need. It's 5 changes in thinking that will completely and immediately improve your life. And then I added a couple little extras that
Show us the book. I think you've got it with you, so we can see that it's okay.
Look,
it's okay.
Seriously, I mean, literally, you could read this in an hour, or possibly 90 minutes if you're a slow reader.
So,
and it covers
Craig,
everything.
Let's give really value to the audience. We don't have an hour, but let's give us the essence of it, so we get the message across right away. And for those interested, of course, we'll point them to get your book. And I know that you want to give it away.
I'm giving it away. Absolutely.
So we'll do all that, but yeah, let's hear it.
Well, I think it starts with the understanding that you're only in control of yourself. You can control what you think, what you feel, what you say, and what you do. Everything else is either within your influence, and influence is done either lovingly or through fear. And we know that fear doesn't last. So the more lovingly you influence, the more positive change that you can evoke in others. And then anything outside of that is outside of your influence. So once you realize that since it's up to me, if it's to be, what can I do to change my thoughts in order to have the results that I'm looking for in life? Broke it down to 5. The first is visualization. You have to see your future the way that you would like it to be. You have to be very clear in your thoughts, because what you focus on and what your energy goes to is what you get. So if you ask yourself the question of, hey, why is my life so terrible? Or why are these things happening to me? You'll get those answers. But if you change your questions to, what amazing things are going to happen today? What kind of challenges am I going to face that I can overcome and be excited about? How can I help others? You'll focus on those and you'll get those answers too. So visualization is the first one. What comes with visualization is positive anticipation. A lot of people see the future in a negative way. They're worried about the future. They're thinking, oh my goodness, what's tomorrow going to bring? What's today's going to bring? Instead of, all right, what's today going to bring? What's tomorrow going to bring? I'm so excited about it. When you see the future working out for you, it removes the middle part, which is the lag time. What lag time is the space between doing the right thing, the time between doing the right thing and receiving the results that you desire. Nothing happens instantly other than deciding that you want to change or you want things to be different. But you do the process, and then what you want comes later. If you have positive anticipation about that, you can actually be excited about the future. And I have many examples of that. The third, I'm just jamming right through these. The third one would be meaning. What exactly happened and what does it mean to me? There's a story we tell ourselves with every event that comes in our life. We're going to have events come to us. Some we love, some not so much. When we receive things in life or events happen, they happen for us. They don't happen to us, but we don't necessarily realize that at the time. And if it's not something that we wanted or expected, we look at it in a negative way. So now we put a meaning that's negative, and this meaning stays with this event, and it may affect us negatively for our entire lives. The next would be perspective. Compared to what? If you're looking at something that happened to you and you see it in a negative light, how can I not only see this different, but compared to what else that has happened to myself or other people, and how can I use that to leverage to feel better about the situation? And last, but certainly not least, is gratitude. And I don't mean being happy or in the moment of, can I get some water, please, babe? Not necessarily I'm just grateful for the moment, but how do you become grateful? And hydrate, everyone, right now. Let's all take a drink.
That's the limit of Zoom, that's so much I can do.
Cheers to you and everyone watching. But really, gratitude is, how do you get into gratitude? How do you stay in gratitude? How do you remember to be grateful? Because of course, everyone wants to be grateful and have things that they're grateful for. But what about the things that you don't have, that you don't want? You can be grateful for those as well. So you can use all of these things to change how you're feeling in the moment in order to your vibration and the way that you feel about the situation. As a bonus, I'm going to throw in the power of words. Words have meaning. They have so much meaning, and they're attached to feelings. So when you say to yourself, oh, my back is killing me, it's a totally different feeling than my back's a little uncomfortable. It's a whole weight that goes with whatever we say. So the more careful that we choose our words, the more it helps us in life.
Wow. I think I didn't interrupt you because I think we've got some golden moments, and I didn't want my blurb to come and interrupt your flow, man. Thank you so much, because this is really clear, simple, straightforward. Of course, I can't agree more. It's all the things that I use and apply and teach, done in different ways. And it's always interesting that we all come to the same conclusions. People have different ways of approaching it. But at the end of the day, yeah, that's it. Those are absolutely golden points to the challenge, I guess, for people is not so much to know these things, but to actually get there from the concept. Okay, right, that's a beautiful concept. But right now, I'm stuck at home. I don't have, all the things that you say seems really nice, but so far away from my reality,
Yes.
With the problems that I have at home and and all the stories. So from your experience, I'm more interested now that we understand where we're going, how do we get there?
Well, those are great concepts, of course, but you're absolutely right. It's the application of these things that will make a difference in your life. When I speak to people, I say, listen, my accomplishments, what I do, my outstanding quality of life means nothing to you if I can't share these strategies so you can implement them immediately and make your life better. So I don't even tell them about my background, my history. None of that matters. If they want to look me up and they want to read about me, that's great. I'm not there to impress anyone. I'm there to share some very proven actual techniques and strategies that they can use today. And for example, let's start in the middle. We start with the story that we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves a story every day about who we are and what's happened in our past and what's made us who we are. But if we really go back to those events, they're probably not exactly the way that we remember them. A lot of them happened when we were kids, and it changes everything when we realize that we were just wrong. We were wrong about what happened. Someone, maybe one of our parents or someone left. Maybe parents got a divorce when you're young. My parents got a divorce when I was 8 years old. I certainly didn't think I had anything to do with it, but I know others that have, and it's held on to them, and they believe, okay, well, my dad left, therefore they become up with global beliefs. Therefore, all men are bad. All men leave. People leave, and they. If you believe that someone is going to leave you, what would make you want to grow this relationship?
Great.
And go deeper?
I'm going to stop you because what I'm interested in, and I teach that with breath work, and I could go on and explaining, that's exactly what I do, is teach people the how. But before I go into that, I want to hear from you, from your experience. You worked with a lot of coaches. How do you help people, or how do you recommend people break patterns? How do they go out of the loop and the story running in the head? Because they believe the story. So you can tell them all these things. It's one thing to just be aware of it, But if they don't know how to get out of it, that's the hard part. So I don't know,
True.
is that something that you address at all?
Yes, of course, through stories and experiences. I I tell stories of myself and my friends and my clients confidentially that of course I don't use names, and that will illustrate how they've overcome these things and the thoughts that they have had.
Mm.
And it relates to most people in some way or another, where they say, that happened to me. Oh, wait a minute. What if it's different than I thought? And really all of the answers are found within questions.
Mm.
The greater the question you ask yourself, the answers will come for every question that you ask yourself. So it's about learning to ask yourself better questions and putting yourself in a more positive state that you can ask more positive questions. It's not about saying that there's no problems in this world. There are problems in this world, but if you look at it from a perspective point, how many are actual problems and how many are challenges, and what's the difference? To me, challenges are things that come up that you don't expect or you don't want, which are truly opportunities for you to grow, opportunities for you to learn, opportunities for you to expand. It becomes a different place when you look at it that way. Those are challenges. Problems are things that you can do nothing about. The only thing you can do, if you believe in God, you get on your knees and you pray to God that you get through this, or others get through this problem that you have no input. Everything else is a challenge if you have some way of influencing it in any way. So that perspective alone will change people's thinking, because a lot of people believe that their life is so full of problems. And when they realize that, problem is, a kid with cancer, someone died, something along those lines, that there's nothing you can do except, take them to the right people and pray. When everything else, I have a challenge at work, big deal. I got fired at work, big deal. I'm broke right now, big deal. Those answers will come. Everything else is dynamic. Nothing is static. And when you look at things as a snapshot, it may feel like, this is tough. But if you also look back on your history, let's say when you were in high school, the love of your life, the person you thought you would spend the rest of your life with, if you think back, you may not even be able to spell their name or remember exactly what they looked like. But at that moment, it felt like it was the end of the universe. And we know that when we have things right in front of us, they seem so big, but over time, they really get small.
I love all that. I'm going to grab a little book because I think that's going to resonate with you. It's The Boy and the Beautiful Mare. I don't know if you heard of that story. Hang on.
Everybody hang on. Oh, while he's gone, how's everybody doing today? Are you having an amazing life? Are you having an amazing day? It's completely within your control.
He's back. So this is a great book by my friend, Dr. Mark Cohen. And he's really, I'll bring it if we come to see each other tomorrow. But really what it says is it's a story of a boy, and all of a sudden he's got a horse coming into his yard. And half of the villagers say, this is great that you have a horse. And half of the villagers says, you are richer than us. This is terrible that you have a horse. And the boy says, I don't know if it's good or bad. I know I have a horse. And he goes on his horse and he rides it, and says it's the best thing in the world. And then the horse disappears. Half of the villagers said it's a good thing he's gone. Now you are like us. And the other half says, it's bad that he's gone because now you don't have a horse. And the boy says, I don't know if it's good or bad. I know I don't have a horse. And the story goes on like that. But it's really that idea of welcoming what is and seeing the positive. As one video I did in March, asking, is coronavirus a good thing or a bad thing? It's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing, it is. That's all we can say. But if I have to make a choice between the two, I always choose that it's a good thing. And I see the positive in the situation, even though at first glance, the situation doesn't look like it's a good one. You lose all your money, you are stuck at home, but you can reverse engineer it. I give you a tangible example. I was in France for a month in lockdown with my parents 2 weeks ago. And, you know, on paper, this is not the best situation. You know, you're stuck. Most of my parents were not well. We have an interesting dynamic between us, of course, as you do with your parents. And I could have been miserable about it, but I chose to be excited every time I was triggered, every 5 minutes, more or less. And because I know that I'm triggered by something, I'm getting an information about myself. So I'm going within, I can journal, I can just meditate or breathe and just feel, oh, what is going on here? And at the end of the 30 days, when I was flying back to Bali, where I am, man, I did the biggest and the most incredible transformational journey and retreat ever. You know, forget Tony Robbins and you and me. That's for beginners. Go spend a month with your parents. That's advanced.
And enjoy it.
Retreat, you know,
and
that's
enjoy it.
Retreat. And be okay with whatever comes in. And so I really, really appreciate that. Now, the art of visualization is something that I really love as well. I'd love to explore it a bit more. And you know what, a little bit what I do, which is breath work. And for me, breath work is answering the how do you get there. I wonder if you use breath work in your own practice and what's your relation with the breath?
I don't. I'm very much looking forward to spending some time with you and learning these techniques. I'm not aware of those at all. I'm not. People think, well, you're the happy guy. You know, that's the thing. Well, you know, of course you're happy. I want you to know that I was an angry teenager growing up. These are things that I had to learn through trial and error and focus. I wanted to be happy, so I learned the techniques and skills to be happier and studied those. This has not come natural to me, and it's something that I fight every day as I call myself a realist. I think there's a lot of us out there, and we look at stress as stress, but really stress is fear. And I choose not to be fearful. And I have to remember that, because stress for many people is stress for many people is a badge of honor. Then they say that they work better under stress. And I can understand that to a degree. When I'm under pressure, time deadlines, I tend to focus more clearly and tune out the other things. But stress, just for the sake of being stressed, is not what anybody wants or needs. It's a terrible thing. And you're worried about the future. That's where positive anticipation conquers that fear, because fear is living the worst possible case scenarios in the future, most of which could never even happen, but you live them in your mind as though they're real and in your body as though they're real. We're the only animals that do this. I don't know if most people know this. We have a prefrontal cortex in our brain that other animals do not have. And it allows us to see the future. It's a simulator. You can close your eyes or even keep them open, and you can visualize yourself flying over the ocean or being in a soccer match and scoring a goal in the World Cup. Animals don't think about being anything other than what they are and doing what they're already doing. Rabbits don't look up and wish they were birds. It doesn't happen that way. So I think it's something that works for us, and it also works against us, because that's where fear happens. And when things happen that aren't within our vision of what we want, we label them as bad, and that disrupts our life in a negative way.
I love it. I'm fully aligned with that. I believe that everything is an inside job. So it's as the guy from Virgin, what's his name again? The founder of Virgin. Help me there.
I'm not sure. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Virgin, Richard Branson.
Richard Branson. Well, Virgin is Virgin. We say Virgin.
Sorry, I've never heard Virgin. I don't use it enough. But Richard Branson was asked once, of course you're happy, you have all this money, those pretty girls, so no wonder you're laughing all the time and you're happy. And you know what he answered? It's the opposite. It's because I'm happy that I get the money and that I get the girls and all the lifestyle. But it starts with being happy. And everyone else usually waits for their outside environment to define how they feel. Their personal reality is defining their personality. And when
Correct.
you realize that you can reverse engineer it and your personality can create your personal reality, then all of a
100%.
sudden things come into place.
Yes,
And
yes, yes, and
fear
yes.
is the same. Fear is great if you are able to use it. Stress is useful. It keeps you alive at times. So you need
Yes.
it. And you need to know when to tap into it. And it's for you to decide whenever you feel stress, whether you're facing fear or danger. Because stress has a purpose. And as long as it's used for its purpose, great. Now I need to survive. All right, there is a lion in the room. Now time to run.
Yes, 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 and yes. Absolutely. It's absolutely useful for danger situations because the little voice in your head that talks to you is not your friend. It's there for one reason. It's to make sure that you stay alive. That's the only reason that it's there. So when it says to you, don't don't talk to that girl, she's too pretty for you, or don't talk to that guy, he's rich and you're poor, or don't even apply for that position because there's probably so many people that are more qualified than you. It's trying to protect you from being hurt. That's what it's doing. And it works just like your friends and your family. They tell you the same thing. Don't do that. You'll just be disappointed. And the truth is, you know better. So when you overcome that little voice, or when you make it work for you instead of against you, you can become great allies. But just know that that voice that's speaking is you, but it's outside of you as well. And it's there for one reason only, and it's to protect the organism, which is you.
Amen. And you know what, guys? We have to realize we can't trust our thoughts. We can't trust our brain. We don't own it. It's owned by our parents, by our education, by the stupid schooling system that tells us you're not good enough, he's better than you, and he gets a B and you get a C, and all these things that are going into our brain, call it the BS, the belief system.
Yes.
And once you realize you're not in control, these days Facebook is in charge of your brain, then you acknowledge that you can't think about these things straight. You need to find another way. And that's, I find, where breathwork comes in. Because breathwork gets you to bypass the brain, to go through the body. There are 80% of the neurotransmitters between the heart and the brain that are heart to brain. Only 20% are brain to heart. So why are we always trying to think our way through this world? This just doesn't make any sense. So I'm fully aligned with all that, my friend. So tell us, if we want to, I know you tell me that you go around and you want to spread the word. Tell us what's going on for you at the moment. How are we connecting with you, and what's happening?
COVID for me has been outstanding opportunity to be able to share in many ways. Although last year I was in 35 countries, or 31 countries the year before, not last year, the year before, 31 countries, the year before, 25 countries. Last year, I've been in 2 countries, 3 countries, including my home country. But I realized that this is an opportunity to be able to share with people when they need me most. This is a really crazy time for people, and they need these skills and tools. So rather than going around what I would do is go around the world, and I would go to community centers or schools and universities, and I would share these with students mostly. I would also speak to entrepreneur groups or small business owner groups. And this gave me an opportunity to share in a way that was totally new. So I was thinking, well, how do I reach the people? Because again, this is all a nonprofit for me. I fund this completely myself with very few donations through my 501c3, but I'm sure the universe will expand that soon. But what happened was I was staying at resorts, and I'm thinking, how can I make this synergistic? Because the people, like, for example, I was in Mexico for 7 months. the average salary of the people that are staff at these hotels is $6 a day, not an hour, a day. $6 a day. They would never, ever be able to afford the education that I was fortunate enough to receive. And they wouldn't even be able to afford what I offer and what I share. So I said, how can I make this a must and a priority to share with them, but also make it a win-win for these resorts? So I teamed up with these general managers. I go to each one. I don't even go through corporate. I just talk to the general manager, the human resources director. I tell them who I am, what I've done, who I've spoken with. This is what I do. And I'm not asking you for anything other than an opportunity to share an amazing experience with your staff. And I do that under the umbrella of secrets to creating an outstanding client experience, because they all want that. That's really important for them. But really what I'm doing is I'm offering 75 minutes of personal development about emotional resilience, about building quality and meaningful relationships, and what that takes and what the specifics to that are. And then I throw in 15 minutes of, after you've learned that, how do we apply this to the guest experience so it becomes memorable and unique, so they would never even dream of going anywhere else. And rather than me having to find a room and rent the equipment and the AV and make sure everybody's safe and social distance, they already have the facilities. They already have the equipment. They already have the people. I don't even have to market or follow up. And because it's so synergistic, it rarely anyone says no. And I can't remember a time that anyone has gone away from this without learning something in a very meaningful, positive way that has been transformational rather than just informational. So I'm excited about that.
I can't agree more. And you know what? I'm an environmentalist. For those who don't know me, I fund an NGO called Refill My Bottle, which I started, Bali Pledge, Be Greener. I have tons. And I believe that making an impact in the world comes from change from within. So exactly what you said. I 100% agree that if you want your staff to deliver a better guest experience, it's not about teaching them how to do the job, but teaching them to be applying it to themselves. And once they are operating from that space, of course they take care of the customers, but it's a side benefit. Of course they are more respectful on the environment, but it's a side benefit. It's not doing it because of the next generation and all this. Who cares about the next generation? People don't do things for the next generation. That's just not understanding the core of how humans operate. We don't care. We take care of ourselves. So if we honor that says, oh, hey, you know what? I'm not here to take care of anything or anyone but myself. And because I care about myself, of course, I'm going to be doing all these things. And of course, I'm going to be respectful of others because I'm going to get the payback. It's going to come back to me in a way that I don't expect. So I might as well project good things in the world. It's all energy. That's all we are. And
you really hit the point earlier where you said it's really inside out. And I think that people that are unhappy rely on external things to trigger them to feel better. But the truth is, you need to trigger yourself to feel good, and it resonates from the inside out. If you're expecting to walk around with a sour look on your face and somebody smiles so you smile, that's the opposite. You walk around with a smile and other people are affected and touched by that, and it's contagious. So if you're expecting great things to happen outside of you, which make you better, you happier, you greater, it's not going to happen that way.
Greg, I think your mission is fantastic. I think a lot of people in Bali will be excited to host you, and of course I'll help you connect with those properties and help you reach out. And you know what? I'm also super excited for you to come to my workshop. I think you're coming with your wife tomorrow, because I really believe that I might have the missing point in your whole formula, which is the how. Because I start the day every day with half an hour of breath work, and this breathing routine gets me to operate from that center space. So it's really, when I get triggered, I go back to the breath. it's when I want to get into meditative state, I use the breath, because meditation is hard.
It's
You need to
beautiful.
do nothing. It's
No,
very hard to do
what
nothing.
you teach is beautiful, because I find myself holding my breath often. Like I'm in an intense thought, and I realize I don't think you breathed in the last 20, 30 seconds. And breathing are like thoughts. It can be automatic or it can be controlled. And I think that's a real important point, because if you decide to stop breathing, you will pass out and you'll wake up breathing, because the body won't let you die. It won't do it. And your thoughts are automatic too. You have thoughts that come in your head all the day that don't necessarily serve you. The better you get at controlling your thoughts and stuffing your head full of the right things, it kicks out all of the things that you don't want. So I'm really looking forward to the breath work, because there's probably a lot of internal stagnant air that isn't being utilized properly, and probably not oxygenating my cells properly. And I'm certainly not hydrating as much as I should, as we all should.
And not from a bottled water of plastic, Greg. I can lecture you on I activate. I can show you on my desk. I have this little thing I'll show you tomorrow, where I actually structure my water. We are 98% water. So when we understand that, and we are eating our water or processing our water in ways, then we really be careful of what goes into our temple.
I think we start in the high 90s, but I think when we get to somewhere around mid 50s, my age, I think we're down to about 70%, most of us.
Well, it depends if you talk about a molecular level, but yes, you're right. Aging is drying.
I don't want to be beef jerky.
But it's very, very true. It's all come down to the breath and the awareness of the breath, because, as you said, you remain human. So shit happens, things happen. And the breath is giving you that space and time to bypass the brain, because again, you cannot think your way through life.
Although there is an awareness of thought that goes with breathing, I think they're very synergistic.
Yes, but again, it needs to, it's the same way we don't want leaders to guide us anymore. We want to be empowered with where we want to go in life. We want to have a bottom-up approach to life where we're empowered. Well, we don't apply to ourselves. And really, when we acknowledge that we store issues in our tissues, that we store anger, resentment, frustration,
yes,
and that we allow the breath to kind of feel into all that, now all of a sudden, what comes up as thoughts are filtered by the sensations, the emotions in the body. And then you can catch yourself. I give you an example. How many of us, including myself, finish their plate in a restaurant because 30 or 40 years ago, your parents told you that there are poor kids dying in Africa?
Yeah.
And you need to finish your plate. And here you go, you're stuffing yourself, you're full, but you're still finishing your plate. So you're not finishing your plate. Your parents are making you finishing your plate.
Right. And not only that, the plates have gotten larger and the portions get larger, because that way they can justify charging more money.
So the breath gets you to actually stop in the middle, feel, take an inhale and exhale, and acknowledge, I had enough. I'm good enough. I don't need more food. And then, carry a Tupperware if you're an environmentalist. But it's that idea of just honoring how you truly feel in every single moment. That's what I feel. And I'm excited to meet you and start working with you, because I feel there is incredible alignment there, because everything you say, I've been saying it for years. So this is fully aligned. Excited.
I also want to let the people watching know, and to let you know, that for me, it's about the impact that I make, whether it's I'm speaking to 5 people or 10,000 people. It doesn't matter that I don't have a large group. The small groups, for me, I can be more impactful, because it can become more of a dialogue than a monologue. So if you have a place that we're with, what's happening a lot, it's a double-edged sword. There's more time available now because there's less people at the resorts, but also there's less staff. So they're really, when they're here, they're working. They don't necessarily have 90 minutes to share, even though it's to completely help their life in so many ways. So I want to let you know that even if you have a small staff or can only share this information with a few people that you work with, it's worthwhile. And it's worthwhile for me too. I don't want you to think that it's a waste of my time just because I'm speaking to 5 people. I've found that my one-on-ones are maybe the most transformational of all. So
A
I'm
ho to
happy to
that.
share.
I want to share my screen and I want to show everyone the video because, again, fully aligned with what you said. I believe that the key is to make an impact on people around you by just embodying, being in your body, being an embodiment of yourself, and then feeling that resonance. So let me share my screen and I will show you what I mean by that. I don't
Okay,
know if you heard of that. Let me know when you see my screen.
I see it.
Okay. So this is called a murmuration. So murmuration is hundreds of thousands of birds. You have them a lot in the US. They're called starlings. They're not really loved
Darling.
there. But
Yeah.
basically what they do is they fly together in this incredible formation. And people have been studying murmurations, trying to understand how do they do that? How can there be so much beauty and coherence? And the solution and the answer is each bird is communicating with 4 or 5 birds only. And then by ripple effect, all the birds are getting the message and doing these incredible movements. So you don't really need to have, tons of people and have a big impact. Just focus on 4 or 5 people around you and let the ripple effect show. So highly supportive of that, and hope your message comes across.
I love that starling analogy because it's amazing if you think about it how they don't run into each other. But it's also amazing. I'm in all over the world. I'm in China. I'm in Bali. I'm in Africa, where nonverbal communication is much more prevalent than verbal communication. I don't speak Swahili. I don't speak Balinese, but we certainly communicate well. You see all these scooters going in different directions, and most of them don't run into each other every day. And it's all based on nonverbal communications. And you can share your thoughts with someone else directly through your eyes, absolutely, and just through body movement and alignment too. You can. It's just so amazing. It's hard to even explain how people can walk through crowds and not run into each other without saying, I'm going this way, I'm going that way.
We are animals. Don't think of yourself as superior and just acknowledge that you're an animal, and then you start operating like an animal, then everything will be okay. Just that's when we stop operating and we start feeling that we are humans, then we are in trouble. But as animal, you're doing okay. So go back to your beautiful self, honor that, and life will be good for everyone. All right,
I
guys.
love it.
How do we reach out to you? How do we connect with you?
I think the best start for everyone is to figure out where you are in this process of your life about it becoming what you would like it to be. And that's, of course, different for everyone. I can't tell you what's best for you. I can only help guide you, and mostly through questions. So I would recommend you start with www.thehappinessquiz.com. You can go there and it's a 5 evaluation. Of course, it's free like everything else I do. And I want you to really spend some time, a quiz that you're going to have to turn into, and there's no right or wrong answers. And it's not from a 0 to 10 scale. 0 is no, not at all in my life, and 10 is absolutely, I follow this completely. And most people are somewhere in between. So once you answer the questions on this very sensitive test, it'll give you a number. That number will tell you where you are compared to other people and where you could be and how to get there. And then I offer a digital copy of Think Yourself Happy, absolutely free of charge. And this test can be taken anytime, or this quiz can be taken anytime. I recommend you take it often. And the more you learn and the more you grow, it's measurable. Happiness is a learned skill, and it's also measurable. I don't think most people believe this because they think that it's an intellectual thing. I'm so smart that I would know how to be happy if you could be happy, and happy's not real, or I'm happy when things happen to me. that benefit suppress full spectrum of human emotions, teaches positive area how to stay there longer and how to go deeper. And when you're in a negative space, how to not go very deep and how to not stay there very long. Because we're humans, we have a full spectrum. Don't suppress your emotions, just learn how to utilize them, let's say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Greg, for this wonderful talk. We'll put all the links in the notes so you guys can look it up. And as for me, guys, I think the line is your line or my line now is not so good. We can't hear one of us so well. And for me, guys, if you're interested, I'm on a breathing call teacher training. We have a few spots left, so get in touch. I'll put the link there. But anyone who is into breath work, who wants to facilitate transformation, that's what we are into. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Greg, and see you soon, everyone.
Thank you.